everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Precision Rifle Media. This week we got Paul with Snowy Mountain Rifles on. If you shoot PRS, you've probably heard of Snowy Mountain. They're a sponsor of the PRS, which is where I kind of got well, there's two ways I got the hook up on this one. One was they got interviewed by at SHOT Show by Marcus, and then I talked to Ken Wheeler, and he was like, "Well, have them guys on. They're a sponsor of the PRS, and it'd be great for everybody." So we're having them on. We're going to talk about Snowy Mountain Rifles. They're building some awesome hunting rifles. Obviously, they're a sponsor of the PRS. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't build those too. They got some other cool stuff going on. Some custom like lathe turned brass. We're going to get into that. I don't have all the details on that, but without any further ado, let's get Paul in here, introduce himself, tell us a little bit about Snowy Mountain Rifles, and kick it off. Paul, great to have you on. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about Snowy Mountain. Where you at?
Yeah, appreciate you having us on today. Kind of in a little bit of a makeshift studio background here. We're actually just getting ready to move offices. So been lucky to be growing here recently, and we're getting a new building going vertical. So getting ready to finish up the build over there here over the next couple of months, and we're kind of moving some machines in there as we go. But yeah, appreciate you having me on. Again, my name's Paul Donaldson. I'm the president here at Snowy Mountain Rifle Company. Been doing this, for company's been around since 2009. I've been an owner since now 7 years ago now. So, and actually before I was the owner here, I worked for the company. That's how I got to know the original ownership. And when that gentleman was ready to retire, was able to make the purchase, and we moved the rifle from Missoula, Montana to Hamilton, Montana at that point. And we've just been working on growing and building great rifles.
Nice. What were you doing previously?
So I was at that time I was in college when I was working for the company. I was going to school there in Missoula, Montana, and grew up an avid outdoorsman, shooting, hunting. Started getting into the competition stuff a little bit. Was able to get a job at Snowy Mountain before I owned it, and that really taught me a lot about precision rifles and gun building, and obviously it was a big passion of mine, and was lucky to turn that into my business and continue with it. So
awesome. Yeah, does it feel like 7 years, or does it feel like 15 years, or does it feel like a half a year?
Sometimes both. It depends on the day. Sometimes it feels like 15. Sometimes it feels like a couple of weeks. But no, I mean, I've been lucky and blessed with this, and been able to grow the company and do something I really enjoy. It's been good.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the custom rifles, right? You've got really, like, according to the website anyway, four main rifles, right?
Yeah, so kind of our four main staples. Where the website's a little behind times at the moment. It's another one of those ever ongoing processes. It seems like it's never caught up to where it should be, but
they all are, I think.
What you currently see on the website is kind of our four mainstays in the lighter weight hunting market, if you will. Which up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and still in some respects is our main was our main focus and kind of our main market and area of building. Right, it was more in the lightweight hunting world, and originally when Snowy Mountain got started, 11 years ago, we were more in the competition world, and we kind of migrated over to the lightweight hunting side of things a little bit more. And 3 or 4 years ago here now, we've been invested in some new machines and bringing out some new parts and kind of making our way full circle back around onto more of the competition side. I mean, not that we're leaving the hunting crowd at all. We're just kind of trying to incorporate it and bring in some of the more competition oriented stuff, PRS match style kind of stuff, and what we're doing as far as chamberings and caliber offerings, but also in some of the new parts we're designing and launching, and some of that stuff is going to be coming out here over the next couple of months and into early late 23 and early 24. So we really enjoy both sides of that market.
Sure. Yeah. And now too, with like the NRL hunter stuff, right now you've got the hunting rifles have a place in the competition world too, right? Where like in the past, like for me personally, if I was going to go deer hunting, I don't really need a custom deer rifle to go shoot deer at 300 yards, but now if I'm going to go shoot an NRL hunter match, just because of how my brain works, I need something custom now.
Well, and that's a big part of our focus right now. Is that I call it that crossover market, right? A lot of avid hunters are now shooting the NRL matches in particular for the hunting crowd and getting into the PRS shooting Here in Montana and, across the West, we have the Western Precision series, which is a much smaller, maybe a little more unknown series, but it generates a lot of shooters. And
yeah,
so we've really been focusing on that crossover market. The hunter going to the competition world, and even in a competition shooter coming over and becoming a hunter. We've worked with quite a few of those guys. One guy in particular, Sean Utley. If you're familiar with him, right? He was really strictly in the competition world, and he's really coming over to the hunting world knowing nothing about hunting. So that's a fun crowd to work with, right?
yeah.
And so, hunters, we want to get better at shooting, obviously, and coming over to that competition side, obviously, it really helps with your shooting background. So a lot of our new products that we're currently designing and working on launching here over the next few months are really oriented to a rifle that can do both. And maybe that means it can do both with a barrel swap, right? A lot with our new pre-fit barrels and being able to swap from carbon barrels to steel barrels, and, chassis or stocks that you can add weight kits to. And, we're really focusing a lot of our design and efforts right now around parts that can, make the same rifle go from a 7-pound hunting rifle to, maybe a 12 to 16 pound competition rifle.
Yeah. So what are you guys, do you have your own actions? Are you building off a different action, stocks, your own stocks?
Yeah. So where we're at with actions is currently we, for all of our rifles that have our name on it, they're pretty much all Defiance machine actions. We've got a pretty close relationship with Defiance, being that we're both here in Montana, for the last 10 years. And so we have, a certain amount of actions coming in every month that are fitting our mainstay of calibers for our hunting market. Now, as far as the competition market goes, we build on a lot of stuff, whether it's a Defiance or somebody else's. So we build on a lot of stuff. We got a lot of guys that send us in actions to cut barrels for them, or for ordering in parts. We're a dealer for pretty much everybody. So we definitely see an action coming from us in the future, being built in-house. Right now, right now, that's a big growth for us, big growth step for us in the future. We've invested a lot of money in upgrading to some really nice CNC equipment, and we're lucky to have a really talented programmer here. So we definitely see an action coming from in-house in the future for us here. Right now, we've got a couple other projects on our plate. So, Defiance makes a great project, or a great product, and they've always been good to us. So that's kind of where we're at on our, factory, or not factory, but our standard offerings, if you will. Sure. And then as far as our custom stuff and our competition stuff, we either chamber and build off of, or, offer a lot of pre-fits for just about every action on the market, as long as it's obviously a guaranteed headspace action.
Yeah. So going off of that, who's a guaranteed headspace action off the top of your head?
Defiance has their lineup. Their Anti-X, their Ruckus. Those are all guaranteed headspace actions. Then unless I miss, the Zermatt 737. Obviously, that's a very popular action. And that's guaranteed headspace. There's pretty much every major action company now. Any new actions they're coming out with, Bat Machine has a bunch of guaranteed headspace actions. All the major custom action companies, if they're launching a new action, it's going to be guaranteed headspace. Just makes sense, right? The pre-fit market, the market's gotten so big now that anybody coming out with a new action is going to offer that in guaranteed headspace. And in my opinion, at least as far as I know, and even a lot of the older actions they've already have on the market have been that way for a while. So your options for guaranteed headspace out there is quite large.
Yeah. So somebody wants a barrel from you that's a pre-fit. Do you guys?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. I misspoke. I said the Zermatt 737R, but it's the Impact Precision 737R. So, but Zermatt, Zermatt has their guaranteed headspace stuff. Impact Precision does. Defiance does. A lot of the major custom action companies are offering those guaranteed headspace.
Yeah, Terminus is.
Yep. Terminus, Bat. Yep.
Yeah, Bat. Yeah. That's kind of where the market's going, right? Like, it just seems everybody's kind of doing their own, buy an action, slap a barrel on it, throw in a chassis.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way the market's going, and I really enjoy it. I think there's two different customers. There'll always be, the customer that doesn't have any interest in that, doesn't have the time for that. He wants the full rifle done from us, shot, load development, data development. It's going to come with ammo, all that stuff. And then there's the customer that wants to buy the different parts and, put them together in his garage. And that's what these guaranteed headspace actions and these pre-fit barrels have allowed people to do it as long as they're done in the right manner. It's a great product. They shoot good, and I really enjoy that side of the market because it's allowed a lot of freedom for the growth in the industry and for people to design these parts. And it's really pushed the industry technology wise and design wise. And you can do a lot of fun things. You can swap chassis, you can swap barrels. Pre-fit, guaranteed headspace actions that have changeable bolt faces. You can go from standard bolt face to Magnum bolt face. You can go from a 6.5 PRC to a 6 Creedmoor with the same action. So it's allowed a lot of freedom, which I think has also really driven that crossover market, the hunting crowd coming to the competition side of things and vice versa, and being able to go from a lightweight hunting rig to a heavy competition rig in the same gun.
Yeah. It's funny like that, like you said, like changing the bolt face and then, new barrel, and you can go to whatever, DT was doing that a long time ago with their bullpups, right? But like they're kind of their own thing, right? Like they're the bullpup design and all that, and like whatever. But like that was like their jam. They saw that a long time ago. Which is
there's been people doing it for a long time. It's just it's become a lot more mainstream and popular, and with the technology and design changes, it's become a lot easier for people to do.
For sure. And I think the hunting market is going to be less interested in that. I think the hunting market, like a lot of those guys, like what I see anyway is, like most guys who want a custom hunting rifle, they want their, whatever they think God's caliber is, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is to them, 300 Win Mag or whatever, right? And they want it to be awesome. And then whenever they're going to need, whenever they need, to really put a hole in something, they grab that gun.
There's a lot of the hunting guys, more, if they're a hunting guy and they're not really into the competition world, that's probably who they're going to be as a customer, right? And obviously that's fine. But again, I still see more and more of the hunting crowd coming over to this competition side of things and learning what all this is and enjoying the competition shooting. And I mean, you know it plenty well, obviously. If you want to become a good shooter, go start shooting competitions, right? And so it's big. And to me, it's not just what the competition is really helped me with. And we have our long range academy here now. We teach a shooting school, so and what I see people really advancing with, either shooting competitions or coming to our shooting school, is just positional building. They might be a decent shooter and have some fundamentals or whatever that looks like, but building the positions, off bags, off bipods, off tripods, different support systems, it opens up a big avenue when you need to take a shot in the field off a steep side hill or something that needs to be quick in kind of an awkward position. Having the correct tools and equipment and understanding how to build those positions in a timely manner to get steady, I think that's where I see the biggest improvement. Leaving our classes or kind of getting into that competition world.
Oh yeah, having the it forces you to figure out how to build a position quickly, right? How are you going to throw your pack? Is it better angled towards you or away from you? Like that's the stuff you knock out, right? And stuff like that, where like when you're hunting, it might just, how hunting is, you could have all day to take a shot or it's all of a sudden there's the target animal and it's over.
And that's, exactly. For those quick hunting scenarios, having the ability to build a steady position, get proper rest in a timely manner with whatever terrain you're in, and having the proper gear and knowledge to do that, I think is a really important tool to making accurate shots.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to get into the school, but going back to prefits quick. Somebody orders a prefit from you. Do you have contoured blanks that you're doing, or is it just a blank that you contour and everything?
Yeah. So we have contoured blanks available. On the steel side of things, we have a lot of Benchmark, Bartlein, and Krieger barrels. And we've really kind of focused our efforts and money in bringing the Bartlein steels in. There's a lot of fantastic companies out there. We've got a great relationship with Benchmark and Krieger. Bartlein's just been available for us. They've really worked hard on increasing some production for us and getting those blanks so we can actually have them in and available, right? Because that's obviously a big problem right now. And in the precision world, in the gun world, is just having things available to build on. So Bartlein's been great. Their barrels are great. So we've got a lot of Bartlein steel in different contours, and Bartland carbon in different contours. We're offering the Benchmark stuff in their carbon and steel, the Krieger stuff in their steel, and then, the Proof stuff in carbon as well. So, we've kind of focused our efforts and our money in keeping the Bartland stuff in stock, but we work with all those companies so as far as the pre-fits go, that's kind of a rundown of what we offer for barrels. Caliber wise is pretty wide open. We do a lot of different calibers, from the hunting side to the competition side, 6BR up to 300 Norma, right? So we're pretty wide on the calibers. And then again, some of those action manufacturers we mentioned, we're pretty wide in our offerings for the different actions as well. So we worked pretty hard over the last 8 months. We actually just brought a new proprietary indication and chambering system, to us, and is, from what I know, to the market. We call it BEAR for an abbreviation. It's Barrel Examination Axis Review is what we call it. And so we worked really hard on this new indication chambering process. Took us about 8 months to accomplish it. Brought in a new machine to do it. A lot of programming, a lot of tooling. But we've seen our barrel production increase about tenfold. So we're able to run about 12 to 14 barrels a day right now with that one machine. And we're guaranteeing the most accurate and tightest chambers on the market with that production quality. So, without getting too far into the weeds on everything we had to go in to accomplish that, basically at the end of the day, we're guaranteeing the most accurate chamber, and we're guaranteeing that by using a 50 millionths indicator with some pretty specialized programming, and the way that machine helps us accomplish that and help us accomplish the math to that level. And then just the way that machine goes in and cuts that chamber, it's extremely tight on the tolerance. So we've been, in my opinion, we've been producing the most accurate gun Snowy Mountain's ever produced here for about the last year now, since, we obviously we built some great product before that, but this machine and this program is really helping us take that chambering to the next level. So, that's where we felt we had to go to offer our customers any sort of production level for the pre-fits, right? We don't want to sacrifice quality, obviously, but we want to have some production level so we can get these barrels out the door to our customers. So this new BEAR system and this new program and this new machine is really helped us accomplish something special there. And in my opinion, they're the nicest chambers, most accurate chambers on the market, and we can do it in a volume that nobody else can do at the moment at that accurate, and that kind of accuracy. So, we've been very happy with our results there. Again, that's kind of where we focused, and our efforts and our money and our inventory is keeping those barrels around, and that's what we're offering right now on the pre-fits.
Sure. Somebody wants let's say somebody's got a blank and they want it chambered. Do you do that? Send it a blank?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do it all the time. We got guys that have barrels already and they send them into us. So we got lots of barrels to offer to you if you're needing a barrel blank and having us chambered. If you want to send us a barrel, we're more than happy to cut it as a pre-fit, or some people want to send in their action and have us cut a barrel to match it and send it back as a barreled action, or we offer barreled actions from here. What we can do for you as far as metal work and chamber work is pretty wide.
Yeah, because you guys have a straight gunsmith in there too, right? I mean,
we've got 3 full-time great gunsmiths that that machine and that program. We've got one guy, his name's Jim, that's his only job is to run that machine all day. He's an expert on the machine. He's a former gunsmith that did great manual chambers before that, so all his inspections are very good, right? He knows what he's looking for and what he's doing. So that machine is running those barrels all day long. And then each one of them's coming over, getting a secondary inspection from one of our 3 gunsmiths, that are the gentlemen that are, assembling the rifles all day long, doing all the bedding, doing all the, the test firing. Some of them are the guys doing the load development. So all very knowledgeable and skilled gunsmiths that are getting that barrel a secondary inspection, a secondary headspace check, a secondary inspection on the inside with a bore scope, secondary inspection with gauges, thread pitch gauges, depth gauges, right? We're making sure these barrels are going out the door as high quality as can possibly be created, and making sure they're, any sort of imperfection or mistake free to make sure when you get them you're going to be happy with quality.
Sure. So, you guys do the whole rifle, but you guys will do load development and all that too, right? I mean, that's a part of the package that you guys can.
Yeah. So when you order a full rifle from us, that rifle comes with barrel break-in and full load development. That's standard. When you're ordering a rifle from us, that's a standard package option inside of there, built into the price. It's not extra for that. We're going to do low development, full low development, full barrel break in. If it's got my name, it's got our name on the side of it. I want to make sure it is perfect when it gets to you. I mean, we're going on at least 4 years now since we've ever got our rifle back for any sort of complaints or problems. We don't let those go out the door, and that's the reason that we go through that process of barrel breaking and low development. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say we don't ever find a problem during low development, right? It happens. We got a problem with the barrel, or a problem, whatever. There can be a lot of little things, whether it's just a box that's binding inside of there. When we put the box, the box spring follower, and the box was binding, right? A customer that doesn't know that might not catch that. So there's a lot of little things that might not be major problems that we want to make sure get sorted out when we shoot the gun. So that's part of what we do for our custom rifles, is a standard feature. We want to make sure that when that gun goes out to you, you're 100% satisfied, and that thing's never coming back to us until it needs a new barrel.
Yeah. And see, I can see that being really nice to be able to do the whole load development and get, a couple around 150 rounds on the gun, 100 rounds, whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's another thing that we offer is the ammo service. So, and that's another thing that I think we kind of take a step further than most places that have an ammo service offering is, a lot of places are just offering you a generic load that works real well in most of their guns, right? If it's a 300 PRC, they've got kind of a generic load for their guns in that caliber, with their chamber, where we do finished load development on every one of the rifles. And we keep that ammo on file specifically for that gun. So if you're calling and continuing to order ammo for the life of the gun, life of the barrel, you're going to get ammo built specifically for that gun.
Oh, that's cool too. But I can see like shooting it, getting some time with it to be able to like really fine tune it. I could see that making a big difference, right? Rather than just, putting it together, make sure it cycles, make sure it shoots a couple times, and then send it out the door. I mean, it's be nice to have some time like that into a rifle just to polish.
Yeah. It just, it gives us that extra bit of confidence to know that rifle's doing exactly what we expect it to do. And two, it's, the customers love that service. I mean, they're like, oh, we're going to get this gun and the low development's done. It's broke in, low development's done. They've probably ordered a couple hundred rounds of ammo, or if they haven't, if they're a reloader themselves, we provide that load data, and they don't got to do any barrel break in. They don't got to do load development. It's plug and play. Either grab our ammo and go shoot the gun, or, replicate our load and go shoot the gun. Or even if you want to tweak, run a different bullet, different powder, tweak that load a little bit, you've got a real good starting point of where that gun's going to shoot.
Yeah. Do you have some place that, let's just say it's a 6mm Creedmoor or whatever, right? Do you have it kind of, well, this load is usually right there. I'm sure
and that's where, so our 6.5 PRCs, right? We just did a run at we chambered like 30 6.5 PRCs, and we're shooting that big run right now. So usually, like our 6.5 PRCs are all going to shoot within like half to 3/4 of a grain of each other, and within 5 thou closer, 5 thou deeper off the land. So we always have basically our standard starting point, and then obviously that gun's going to tell us what it likes from that standard starting point. We're going to be tweaking it within a grain or two of powder, a few thou of seeding depth. It's going to take that gun from being a half MOA 6/10 gun, and be able to pull it right down into a. Sorry about that, I lost you for a second.
Oh no, that's fine.
Be able to pull that right down into what we expect, which is really a 1/4 3/10 gun is what we expect to go out the door. So that's kind of where that makes a difference there.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. And it's funny how you kind of find loads that seem to fit, right? That this works pretty good for stuff,
Well, and it's interesting too, like, that's what fits for our chambers, right? I mean, the way we do our chambers, what reamers we use, what size our chamber is, all that stuff, right? So we find that, if we were to make a reamer switch, say, we switched our reamers or switched a small dimension on a reamer or something like that, the load would generally change. We might gain or lose a grain of powder, something like that. our seating depth might need to change a couple thou, mostly in the powder, because if that chamber changes dimensionally, that brass is going to expand different dimensionally. The pressure is going to change, all that stuff. So usually once, we're set, this is our reamer we use for this caliber, this is our specs, we can guarantee or count on, that load's going to shoot somewhere right in that area, which it should, because all the chambers should be the same, right? The indication process is different for every barrel, and that's one of the most important things about making a barrel shoot accurately. And that's one of those things that this new Bear process allowed us to do, down to the 50 millionths indication. So super accurate and repeatable every time. That's where you're going to get a lot of that accuracy. But the way the chamber is cut is, the way the chamber is cut, right? Dimensionally, it is what the reamer is. Sorry, I didn't lock that door, so somebody just walked into my little bit of a makeshift office in here. We're moving stuff, like I said, but dimensionally, that chamber is what it is, right? So, the reamer is the size it is. So you got the same dimensions inside your chamber. The brass is expanding the same way, creating the same pressures. They should shoot the same load, and that shows consistency.
Yeah. Do your reamers, when you order up reamers, when you say our specs for the reamer, like you order a 308 reamer, right? Is there something different or special that you do, or is there?
It depends on the caliber, right? Like most of the new modern calibers are all SAAMI spec, because those have been designed for what we're trying to accomplish in long range shooting with these modern boat tail bullets. The way we want this modern powder to burn, those calibers have been designed that way. Some of the older stuff that are still great calibers, but we're just designed before we're doing what we're doing now. We've had to make some tweaks. Usually we might tighten up the neck a little bit or add a little bit of free bore for these longer boat tail bullets now, or stuff like that. So it really just depends on the caliber.
Sure, that makes sense.
And then there's like the bench rest crowd, right? We chamber a lot of stuff for bench rest guys too. 100, 200, 300, 1,000-yard bench rest. We chamber a lot of bench rest guns too. And so generally the bench rest guys want a little bit shorter free bore. They like to jam into the lands, and they're usually using a little bit different bullets versus, in the competition rifles, NRL, PRS style guns. You want more free bore, right? You want more, you want to get out farther. You want more powder capacity in there. Those boat tail bullets like to be seated out farther, all that kind of stuff. So we run a little bit different on our reamers too, depending on whether it's a bench rest reamer or bench rest gun, hunting gun, competition gun. And then we have a lot of our customers that, especially the bench rest guys, bench rest crowd, a lot of them have their own custom reamers too. So a lot of times they'll send us, 5 barrels or 10 barrels, right? They want chambered for the whole competition season, and they'll send their reamer in with it too.
Yeah. Do you have a certain reamer manufacturer that you prefer, or is it just kind of whoever's got what you need when you need it?
Yeah, so we basically run JGS for the most part for a long time. We started running a lot of the new Alpha reamers here real recently from Alpha Munitions. They're making brass, and then they got into the reamer world, and their carbide reamers have been very, very top notch. The grind on their reamers and their coating and everything's been very good. So we've been using a lot of JGS for a long time, and still are. And we've been using a lot of the new Alpha reamers lately too. Yeah,
I've been hearing. Just recently heard about those the reamers. Yeah, kind of getting out there and the carbide reamers. A lot of them are tool steel, right? They're not. They're not carbide, so this is.
Yeah, most of the reamers that are being done manually, right, being cut into a barrel in a manual machine, they're going to be high speed steel, tool steel. They're more forgiving than carbide. The machine that we're running, we want to run carbide. We've switched everything over to carbide. Leaves a lot nicer finish. It cuts into that steel of the barrel a lot nicer. It's just what you want to use in the kind of machine that we're using now. So
being CNC, that's the
CNC machines, right? That carbide's leaving a much nicer finish for us. We've been really impressed with the Alpha reamers. So but either way, whether going JGS or Alpha, those are kind of our two go-to, and we're running carbide on everything.
Sure, yeah, and should last a little longer too, right? Being carbide.
Yeah, it does. We get a lot more chambers out of the carbide than out of the high-speed steel.
So you guys have a shooting school. Do you have a range on site?
So currently our 100-yard range, where we do all the load development and all that kind of stuff, is off-site. That's part of our new process right now. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we're kind of in a transition / makeshift office here at the moment. We're going vertical on a new building, which is really exciting. We're pretty squeezed on space at our old location here. So at our new location, we will have an on-site indoor 100-yard range, which is, I'm really, really excited about that. That's, we're talking about what a great service our barrel break-in and our load development is, which it's wonderful for the customer. And it allows us to have that extra, feel good feeling about every single gun that goes out the door. It's really important to us. But it's a bottleneck. It's time consuming to shoot every single gun, and right now our 100-yard range isn't on site, right? It definitely affects our lead time. So
makes a big difference.
Yeah. So right now,
new 100-yard range, is it going to be above ground or underground?
It's going to be about 50%. So we're going to sink it down into the ground, but the water table on that property, we can't quite go all the way underground. So that's going to be a huge thing for us for our lead times and getting guns shot and getting them out the door. That's actually the first thing that's going to go up. They're pouring the foundation for it right now. So we're waiting on the steel package for the building. Should be here in about 3 weeks. But we're going to get that shooting range going vertical. They're going to pour the foundation for it, pour the walls for it, and we're going to get that thing put in so we can start shooting in there and help those lead times. But so that's our 100-yard range on site, but we don't use that for the shooting school. That's just for our development and our guns. We lease a ranch right here in Hamilton, Montana, in the Bitterroot Valley. It's about 15 minutes from the shop on the east side of the valley. Beautiful property up there, and that's where we teach the whole school up there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I always said, like, if I get to where I'm going to build a house, I'm going to build a house and a big shop, and then I'm going to put like 100-yard underground, like a big sono tube underground,
Yeah. I'm pretty excited to have our range on site.
That's going to be huge. Yeah. Just, I just recently got permission just south of where I live. So I used to have to drive about 45 minutes. Now it's like 2.5 miles.
Yeah. Having that range close just, allows for more trigger time. That's for sure.
Oh man. Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. Especially, I got little kids and stuff and fairly demanding day job. And so this is just going to be awesome. But okay. So the shooting school, tell us about that. You got your own instructors? You guys do it? Do you hire in instructors?
Yeah, so we've got our own instructors in-house, and we've got a couple, instructors that we hire that have been doing it with me for, a couple of years now that come in that aren't full-time employees in-house, just coming to teach the school. So, we got both. We started this our third year on our long range academy. It's been something I wanted to do for years. It's always on my mind. It's finally just kind of came together where I was able to secure the right piece of property to do it on. I wanted to do it here close to the shop. So that took some time to put together. That was the biggest piece. Once we got that put together, it was kind of, all right, off and running. Had some good guys in-house that, are competition shooters and, guys out of the military that were snipers and things like that. And, obviously myself, and I kind of had the background to do it. And I already knew the couple of gentlemen I wanted to hire and been talking to them about doing it when we put it together. So we had the right team. Right. Great guys, great instructors, knowledge base is really good, and so we put the curriculum together, had the team, got the property secured and off and running here. So like I said, our third year doing it. It's been great. I've really, really enjoyed teaching the classes. It's probably my second favorite thing to do here. Number one being product design and development. I really, really love doing that, but teaching the classes is a lot of fun. We get a lot of people that, our skill sets are really minimal when they get here. Right. And just seeing them and make those growth and the steps we're able to take them through in 3 days. And, we're out shooting, right. It's fun, right. Everybody's having fun. We're learning. So we've got 2 different classes we offer right now, our level 1 fundamentals class and our level 2 development class, taught in 2 totally different places on the property. And
you have to take one to take the other.
So we're asking everybody to take the first one before they take the second one. There is some exceptions there. If you're an accomplished shooter or been to a good shooting school that I'm familiar with and want to come take the level 2 with us and have gone through that level 1, but our level 1's pretty advanced. We try to make the class where you can come in with almost no skill set or come in as kind of an intermediate shooter in knowledge and get just as much out of it either way. So a lot of guys that I've talked to that have kind of been on the edge of do I need the level 1? I feel like I'm a little bit more advanced than that. usually come in and walk away with a lot more than they expected. So our level 1 gets pretty detailed. It gets pretty advanced. We've got a group of 4 to 5 great instructors. We've got 3 to 5 instructors at every class, depending on the class size. And so we can kind of tailor, we've got a couple people in the class that are a little more advanced, right? They're going to go over, probably shoot together, tailor that a little bit more advanced to those guys. If we've got a couple people that are pretty new, we can, again, put them with an instructor and, kind of help, bring you along at whatever pace you need to be at. So,
Sure.
We encourage you to, and pretty much require you to take the level 1 before the level 2. But again, the level 2 is pretty advanced for most people, and it goes pretty in depth. I tell, the way I was trying to describe it is I didn't want this to be I didn't design it to be a feel good class, right? Like I'm not going to bring you out and just give you a rifle that's already all dialed and let you shoot a 2-foot plate at 600 yards and be like, good job, right? Like we get pretty detail oriented and in depth in teaching you how to actually do this from start to finish, from rifle setup to load development to, really strict 100-yard zero work and why that's important, and, data and how to enter data. You show up, you get a full rifle package, scope rings, bubble level, ammo, you get a demo Kestrel, and we go through the whole Kestrel work and how to input data and manipulate data, and we get pretty detailed, right? And so we tried to make it a class where we felt like people could walk away and really feel good about, having to do that whole process from start to finish on their own.
Yeah. How much is it?
So class for 2024, the class is $2,500, and it's a 3-day class. And so 3-day class, like I said, we provide 4 rifle packages for everybody to shoot, ammo for everybody. You get a demo Kestrel, all sorts of, books and paperwork and stuff that we're going to go through. But 4 rifle package, all the ammo. And
the rifle's not included.
No, rifle's not included. But
no, you get to use it. You get to use it, but you don't leave with it.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So the demo rifle will stay with us. That's what we use for all the classes.
Yeah.
When I say demo rifle, it's probably not the right word. I should use trainer rifle.
I just wanted to clarify that because kind of the way you said it was kind of like, well, it's a full rifle package, and I'm like, sign me up.
So no, rifle's not included. It's going to stay here with us. Of course, if you want to purchase a rifle, we try to keep packages available and ready for people to handle and shoot and stuff like that. But yeah, when you show up for the class, you're going to get one of our trainer class guns that'll be set up. It's got ammo built for it. So basically you just get to show up and shoot.
Is there lodging close by? Is it?
Yeah. So we don't include lodging in that. We don't have any lodging on that ranch. It's just a bare piece of property. So lodging is on you, but yeah, there's lots of options here in town. We got 5 or 6 different hotels. There's lots of great Airbnbs in the area. Some people have chosen to pull their campers up. We do have a spot to park campers on up there if you were to choose to want to do that. People who drive have brought motorhomes or campers, and that is an option for you. But yeah, lodging is not included in that.
Sure, but there's places close by. That's
when
you start getting out west, that's like half the battle, right? I don't know exactly where you guys are, but like I'm in South Dakota, and like the eastern part of the state's not so crazy, and like the way western part, like once you get to Rapid, there's lots of stuff there, but there's some spots in the middle where it's like
yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're all the way on the western side of Montana. Like we're basically right on the Idaho border. And so we're still a small town, but I think there's about 14,000 people here. So rurally about 5,000 people in town, but yeah, so we're big enough. You got lots of good choices to stay and, nice places to go eat and things like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's always important to try to make like a whole deal out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, the view from that property in our valley in general, it's about as pretty as it gets here. And you drive up where we shoot in both locations up on the east side, and you overlook the entire valley. And it's about as nice as it gets up there for a view as well.
That's pretty cool. Do like a pre-hunting train up.
Yeah, a lot of guys do. If they've got a hunt booked that year or hunts booked, they'll come out. They'll take both classes with us, and the way we schedule the classes, they're scheduled back to back. So we always run a level 1, level 2, level 1, level 2. So that way, if you're coming from out of state, you want to take both classes, you can just come for a week. You don't got to come back, but obviously you can always come back if you don't stay for both of them or plan on taking both of them the first time. I really enjoy the classes and the training. It's been a great service for our
I like
everybody.
When you take somebody out who's never really done it before, that's like just a huge, like, it's just a blast for me. Like, when I got this permission south of town here, I brought the guy out. I got a big like E-type silhouette. Like it's big,
Yeah.
it's for like like almost like 700 yards, called 700, and I'm thinking like, this is a big target, but I wanted to like make sure that I was going to hit it, so,
Yeah.
so the guy had a little confidence in what we had going on, and, he's like, hey, you think we're going to hit it? I'm like, on the first round. He goes, well, I meant like it all.
Well, I think so. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, first round 50-50 right now, because I haven't shot much lately, but I ended up like 4 inches off center and like an 8-mile-an-hour wind first shot, so that wasn't so bad. But then it makes them feel pretty good, like.
Well, we have people that fit that description in every single class. That we had a gentleman in the last class. It's like, I grew up hunting and then I got busy and I haven't picked up a gun in 20 years. And by day 3, he's just knocking the center out of 10-inch plate at 800 yards and making different wind calls, and has a good knowledge of how to build all the positions and how to do data, and we've just been we worked really hard on the class. I think it's a really well done class, and the feedback's been great for us. So I love teaching it.
Yeah, and like this guy, I'll tell you what, like sometimes you get people and you're trying to explain to them like, oh, you gotta make a correction, and you're trying to like explain how to make the correction. You can hold hold like this, and it's like an ordeal. This guy, he picked it right up. He didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, I always tell everybody it's almost like learning a different language, right? If you've never done it, you're not familiar with that language, and all that stuff, it'd be a little much and a little intimidating at first, but once you just kind of start picking it up, then it's not that complicated to learn. It's just different if you've never done it.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about your brass.
Oh, the brass. So the brass, lathe turn brass. So we started picking this.
Is it going well? Because that made it sound like it's not going well.
Well, no, it is. It's just it's a big project, and it's a big curve to get it to work. Right, we've had to design a lot of tooling, and it's just taken a long time because we keep it's like any R&D. I mentioned earlier that probably my favorite thing to do is design and do R&D. I love doing new parts in the design work, but it's I love it, but at the same time it's almost like the bane of my existence. I said the exact same thing on a different podcast a couple of weeks ago, that it's frustrating at times, but mostly it's just time consuming, and it's we spend a lot of money on R&D, right? Mm-hmm. So when the machines are running R&D, they're not running parts. So there's always that, and this is when we're moving into this new building. We got a couple more machines coming, and it's going to help us expand and get more R&D done. But taking on a project like that, it's just taking a long time. It's going good at the moment, but we'll get into a point where we work on it for 3 weeks and we make the next step in progress on what we got to get figured out, and then we got to shut it down. And sometimes we shut it down for 2 or 3 months at a time, because if we're not getting parts coming off the machine, we're not guns aren't going out the door. So it's still a go for us. We're having a lot of really positive results out of it. Excited for what it's going to bring, but it's just it's unfortunately it's kind of in a go, and then a holding pattern, and then a go, and then a holding pattern. And so I'm hoping that we're going to have some stuff come to market in 23, or at least, very early Q1 show season of 24. Once we get it there, I'm excited about the product. The brass itself and what we're using is showing really good results in its longevity and its life, and how many firings you can get out of it. We can make it very accurate in its dimensions and its weight. It's basically lathe turned brass coming off the machine, right? Because we're turning it, right? So just the complications of cutting brass internally in those dimensions is caused a lot of tooling design.
Oh, I'm sure.
Headache and things like that. So it's a really, really cool project, and we're just working on being able to make it all come together.
Yeah. Maybe here's I got it. All right. You get a reamer for the inside. All right. And then you ream the outside. You ream out the inside, right? Turn the outside, ream the inside. You cut threads on so then you make the base of the bullet, and then you make the body of the bullet, and you thread it all together.
Right. Let's make it one piece, right? So, no, it's a cool project, and where I see it, we can hopefully make it all come together. Where I see it making a splash, is like 30 BR, for example, right? That's a really major competition round for 100 to 300 yard bench rest shooters, and nobody makes 30 BR brass. They make 6 BR brass, and you got to take it through a bunch of forming steps to bring it up to 30 BR, and then you got to fire form it and trim the necks and do all this stuff to make 30 BR brass. So that's where I see us being able to make a splash initially with some of this brass is we can just turn 30 BR brass, right?
Yep.
We're making it to whatever dimension we want in the machine. So there's going to be some areas where it's guys are going to love it. Some areas where traditional brass is being made right now might be a better solution, but it's going to allow us to do some cool things with it like that.
When I first heard about it, the two things that really came to mind for me, one was the ELR shooting, right? Because it's big, it's already big and expensive, right? So like, what's the difference if it's $3 to buy regular extruded versus $3.50 or $4 to buy this? Plus, there's like so much wildcatting in the ELR world, right? Like you see a lot of that weird stuff. So then you can, I could call you and be like, "This is what I'm doing." Go.
Yep. And that's where. Sorry.
That I see it. The other thing that I see it in is like obsolete cartridges, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing like a lot of these like I don't know. I'm kind of into like the old guns too. I'm getting more into it. Like when I was younger, I liked all the like if it's not an AR, I don't care. Get Grandpa's 30-30 out of here. And now I'm like, oh, what kind of 30-30 we got here? Is it really old? Is it like a cool one? And as I get more into that stuff, like old guns, you see a lot of people with like old rim fires, right? Like old 44 rim fires, right? And they're making brass, and then they basically they build the brass to accept a primer, right? And then you got to like have it clocked when you're going to shoot it or whatever. But then you can clock it and you can still shoot these old guns if you want to or whatever with like a super obsolete, hard to find cartridge.
Yeah.
And I see those are the kind of the two markets that at first I saw, and I thought like, oh man, that's going to change the world for a lot of those guys.
Yeah. And that's where we see it too. A lot of the Wildcats, bench rest stuff where guys are changing brass anyway. They got their own reamers, all that kind of stuff. But it's just been a process, right? I mean, there was a company in Texas that did turn brass for a while, and they're not in business anymore. So making sure that it's going to be done proper, that it's marketable, that it's achievable, right? And I think that's one of the big issues they ran into there, and they were trying to do it. They were able to make it, but they weren't able to design the right tooling to make the brass consistent, right? They were having big weight fluctuations from piece to piece, and that has all to do with the tooling and how it's being cut, and so it's just a big process, right? We're excited about it, but it's just going to kind of come along when it comes along, and when we have time for it. We've got some other big projects on the board that we're pushing for to get launched and out into the market. So when we have time for it, we're going to keep pushing it, and hopefully we'll be able to get it out as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's one that I'm really excited to see happen. Just like I said, more for the obsolete cartridges and the big stuff.
Yeah.
New. It seems like you could change quickly with it too, right? Like, 6mm GT comes out and nobody's making brass, so you can kind of just punch some stuff in and hit go and make.
Sure. Once the tooling's done, right, then that's exactly right. It's just a new drawing, different cartridge. We know what tooling's being used, and go ahead and run it. So yeah,
that's cool. So what else? What else is coming down the pipe for Snowy Mountain?
Well, I keep mentioning a bunch of new projects that some of them I'm not going to say too much about. We're going to be starting to get some demo stuff out there and some things starting to hit the market here in the next 2 to 3 months, and then especially into late Q4 of 23 and early Q1 SHOT Show season 24. But again, we're really pushing that crossover market, and I love that market right now. It's a lot of fun to design parts for that market, and the challenge of, okay, how do I make this part stay ultra lightweight for the backcountry guy, and then also him be able to go shoot on an NRL match with. One that's a big one is a new magazine system we're coming out with. This new all aluminum center fed magazine and bottom metal system. What we've been able to find that we should be able to do at this point in time, all the testing has come back the way we want it to in feeding testing. And we're hoping to have this product on the market in the next 3 to 4 weeks. As its initial launch, that might be a little ambitious on the timeline, might be 6 to 8 weeks. But this new magazine system, all aluminum magazine system, it's going to be a magazine system in combination with a BDL system, right? So our bottom metal body is going to be the same. And then you're going to be able to switch from a hinge floor plate straight to a magazine. So, if you want to if you're currently running a hinge floor plate, you want to go to the magazine, all you do is take your action screws out, pull your bottom metal out, pull your box spring and follower out, slip your pin out that takes your floor plate out. And then now you just put your bottom metal body back in, tighten your action screws back up, and then you put the magazine directly into that opening. So allow a guy to go from BDL to DBM magazine fed if you want. A magazine is going to be super light. It's all aluminum and it's going to be modular. So the bottom of the magazine comes off and you're going to be able to add extensions to it. So a 3 round will go to a 5 round, a 5 round will go to a 7 round.
Oh, sure.
So that's going to make, it's going to, my ultimate goal for this system, right? The way I think about this is, okay, so now we have just that product itself is going to be a really nice product, really light, be able to go from BDL to center fed, whether you're, a hobbyist gunsmith that, again, like we've been talking about, likes to, change things out in his garage, his workbench wants to go from carbon barrel to steel barrel with the prefits and do all this stuff. Where I see this magazine system offering him something unique is, you could go, if you've got an action with a changeable bolt face, say you're running a medium length action with a changeable bolt face and you shoot a 6.5 PRC for your hunting gun, you could go to a 6 Creedmoor with this, right? So we're going to swap our bolt face out. We're going to go from Magnum to standard bolt face. We're going to go from our 6.5 PRC magazine to our 6 Creedmoor magazine. Maybe we swap our carbon 6.5 PRC barrel out for our heavy steel 6 Creedmoor barrel. It's competition season. And we're, in 10 minutes, we went from a 7-pound 6.5 PRC to a 12-pound 6 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think that's going to be pretty neat. That's going to be, it's nice too for like the limited budget, right? Where, because, I always figure like if you're going to be building something, it's like, basically $1,200 for every major component is, so that saves you that, the action and the stock right there, right? Yep. That's two big expenses. So now you can cut it down and you can cut it down and you can, maybe spend, I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but let's just say half,
Well, if you're cutting out a high-end custom action and a high-end stock or chassis, you're cutting out at least $2,000, $2,500, maybe even $3,000 or $3,200, depending on what you're running. So,
right.
And I think there's something to be said about running the same stock or chassis, the same feel for your competition gun or your hunting gun, right? And it's just time behind your gun, and it's just going to make you that much more comfortable with it. So, I mean, that's a big one that we're hoping to launch here, real soon, someone in that time frame. And then, we're working with a major stock company right now. I won't say too much more of it than that, to release a stock here towards the end of 2023 that's going to have some big modularity to it as well. It's going to have some weight kit availability.
Sure.
And, and it's in its light raw hunting form. It's still going to be a really light carbon hunting stock. And in its modular capability, it's going to be able to, you make it a 20-pound platform by adding weight to it. So, my ultimate goal with these products is to give that guy, give a guy that modularity. You can go from a 6.5 PRC to a 6 BR, 6 Creedmoor, something, you can go to all sorts of bigger hunting calibers down to smaller competition calibers and do it by, adding weights to this stock that we're working on. Swapping his bolt face out if he needs to do that and he's got the right action for it, and changing mag out, right? So it's easy to swap a bolt face, screw a barrel on, and now we have a different caliber bolt face wise and barrel wise, but it's still got a feed. Yeah. Right. So if it's a 6.5 PRC and you're running a BDL and your 6.5 PRC, you swap it to a 6 Creedmoor, that's not going to feed. right? It's going to come right up through your feed lips. It's not even going to hold on to the round down there. Well, now you introduce a center fed magazine with the proper feed lips and proper, holding that 6th Creedmoor in the proper position. Now it's going to feed and hold rounds too. So we're pretty excited, and that's kind of our big push and our big goal of some products that we're working on bringing out here in 23.
Yeah, I like having a gun for everything, right? Like, oh, that's my coyote gun, that's my prairie dog gun, but it's not all that realistic for me. It never really has been, just like financially and otherwise, I like to be able to tweak things a little bit and use this thing for something else. I mean, my competition rifle it's always been a competition rifle, and I've shot deer with it, but it's always been what it is. You know what I mean? But it's but I like the ability to have like a competition rifle, and then be able to run it just super heavy for competition, and then strip it down and take it out coyote hunting.
Yep.
Maybe it won't be my elk rifle or my deer gun or whatever, but at least I can take it and very easily make it usable for coyote hunting or prairie dogging or whatever, right?
Yeah, and that's I'm interested to see what kind of feedback we get. That's the first time I've said this to anybody outside of the shop here about that magazine system and the stock we're working on. So we're
awesome.
really interested to see what feedback we get here. But I'm excited about that product and both of those products.
Yeah, I think it's going to be neat. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out and how it gets used.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. Well, I guess real quick, the other question I had, this was way back, but then we got down some other.
We always end up going down rabbit holes.
Yeah. What stocks are you using now?
A lot of AG Composite, a lot of Manners, McMillan's. We kind of have it's kind of like our actions, right? On kind of our standard offerings. We kind of have our standard stock offering for that, but we work with, again, all the major stock companies, McMillan, AG, Manners, chassis companies, MDT, MPA, lots of different stocks in chassis companies. So if it's something you're looking for, again, I have a relationship, a dealership with all those companies. I can order it in for you. I stock a lot of it. A lot of people who are ordering directly from them. The same thing with the barrels or the actions. We'll just mail it directly to us and have us build off of it. We do all that stuff.
Sure. Then the last question I got for you: what is your go-to rifle right now?
Out of our lineup, obviously, it's our Alpine Hunter. So that's our kind of our flagship, best-selling, most versatile rifle. It's super light. It's 6.5 pounds, but at 6.5 pounds, it's got all the features I want for a longer range rifle. The high cheek piece, vertical grip stock, built-in 20 MOA bases, larger, flatter fore-end for adding rails and stuff like that to it. Obviously out of our lineup, that's our number one do-it-all rifle. Especially for the lighter weight hunting crowd.
Boom. What's your specific? What caliber? What's your specific?
Boy, for a long time,
you're going in your safe right now, and you got to hit something.
Man, it's funny, right? Forever, for the last 5 or 6 years, I would have told you my Alpine Hunter 28 Nosler.
Yep.
The new 7 PRC has been super impressive. Super impressive. I've actually been quite impressed. The 300 PRC is great, and the 6.5 PRC is great, and they've done a great job with those calibers over at Hornady. But I've been surprisingly impressed with the 7 PRC. So we'll see if that changes my mind a little bit or not. If I was going to pick one forever, do it all, it'd be hard to say. Be hard not to say 300 Win Mag or 300 PRC, just because you have so much versatility in 30 cal. But yeah, I'd still say my Alpine Hunter and 28 Nosler.
Boom, there you have it. Awesome. This is last chance to get anything out there.
Boy, we covered a lot. Yeah. I think that's the major talking points for SMR right now and where we're headed and kind of who we are. I'm sure there's some things I missed, but I think that covers what I wanted to talk about today, and I really appreciate you having me on, and I'd love to come back and do some more, because I'm sure once I decompress and think a little bit, I'll come up with quite a few talking points I didn't talk about.
Yeah. Oh, I should have brought this up.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this year's SHOT Show I'll be able to make it. That's something that I want to try and do. So maybe this year it'll be me interviewing you at SHOT Show and not me and Marcus together instead of just him.
Yeah, that'd be great. It seems like it's far away, but pretty soon we'll be we'll be ramping up for SHOT Show again, and we'll be doing all of that fun stuff. So it'll come before we know it.
Yep. So questions, comments, concerns, check out stuff. Where are we going?
Yeah. So obviously, SnowyMountainRifles.com. Like I mentioned, website's a little behind the game. We're working on getting that updated as fast as we can. So if there's something you're not seeing on there, if you got questions, you can always email me, either info@ or paul@snowymtnrifles.com, or give us a call, 406-546-8732. And we'd love to have a conversation with you.
Boom. There you have it. I appreciate you coming on, man. With that, we're going to be wrapping the show up. So you got questions, comments, or concerns for me, it's kirk@precisionriflemedia.com or precisionriflemedia.com. Click on the contact us section, and that'll shoot me an email. If you really want answers quick, it's Elyse, ELYSE @precisionriflemedia.com. She's much better at getting back to people than I am quickly. With that, what else do I got? I think that's about it. Getting out to a match here next weekend. Let you guys all know how that goes. Otherwise, if you're going to be at the PRS match out here in Pierre, boy, the name of it's I'm drawing a blank on. But if you're going to be up at the PRS match in Pierre, shoot me an email or whatever. I'll bring you out some swag. I'm going to try and get some stuff made. So with that, everybody, take care. Try to get to the range, and I'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.